Data Studio properties, point clouds. So here we have a point cloud loaded. It is highlighted, it's been selected. You can do right click properties, or you can select the property icon there. Both perform the same result, and they bring up the properties for this point cloud. This is how you would select properties for any data object listed here, but this video is specific to point clouds. So we have values like point size, ratio, quality, and the colorings. If you had another data object there, say a measurement, you're not going to have point sizes, etc., and the quality. So we can enter, we start with quality and opacity. If I enter quality of 100, default is much lower because you may have lower spec machines and first load big point clouds, so we want to give some performance out of the box. But as you can see, at 100 it's absolutely fine. And if I enter an opacity of say 5, I can now see through this point cloud. We can change this value until you get the results that you require, and it will be different per point cloud, but a good average quality is 100 and opacity between 2 and 10. Just put that back to 100. You can enter a quality value of 150 as a maximum. Again, higher values will have a real-time processing effect. If you had billions of points of extremely dense point cloud data, you may wish to lower those values. If you have super sampling turned to the maximum, or not necessarily, but it will highlight the effect more obvious. If we had a point size of 1, the data can appear too see-through, not solid enough here. Filling and super sampling is dealt with in a separate video, and keys 1 to 5 will have been explained, but that's what they affect here, is the point size. So if I entered 5, you have very dense looking, very solid looking point cloud. Now if you compare that to how when we first saw it, it's like this. There's a dramatic difference. The quality would have been at 30 at default, and there's a vast difference there. So if I just put that back to 100, super sampling max, very sharp looking point cloud, looks very, very realistic. These are additional options to the filling and super sampling video you may have seen, but these are the values that get changed. There's also a point ratio, so filling is turned on, which has been mentioned in a previous video and should be turned on generally. The ratio will change as you move point cloud distance in. So again, experiment with your point cloud. The default of 5 generally works the best, but if you did have a point cloud that scanned in a particular way, try changing point ratio with filling turned on. We also have here explained in another video the color properties, so the RGB values, color intensity, which is displayed here, and the classification values. Classifications and color intensity are dealt with independently in separate videos, but the options for selecting them off and on are under the properties. You also have coordinates for this point cloud and all data objects. This is the XYZ coordinates here. You can manually type them here. You can lock the positions, you can't move the data objects. Earth aligns, and you can reset back to all your defaults and the EPSG code. So this one in particular, if you had converted your point cloud data and not selected georeferencing, and your data now just loads in this local view and it doesn't appear on the globe correctly, which it wouldn't do if you didn't select georeferencing, then you can enter the EPSG code here, and that point cloud will transition to that georeference position.